In this video, we're going to talk about the flipped classroom and how the flipped model can be used to transform learning. So first, what is the flipped classroom? The flipped classroom takes the traditional model of the teacher being the lecturer and students sitting passively taking notes and then performing homework assignments, maybe solving a bunch of problems for homework or completing some worksheet or something along those lines. And the flipped model takes that and kind of flips it upside down. Really, it takes that direct instruction where students are doing the most passive learning and assigns that for homework. So that way, the most passive activity is being done outside of the classroom when students don't have the resources that they have inside the classroom. And so, why might we want to do this? Well, first, we might want to flip our classrooms because students get more control over their learning when we do this. Students can work at their own pace, and they can really guide their own ship. They can decide how long it's going to take them to do their homework, because when they're watching a video, they can pause it, they can fast forward it if they already understand something, they can replay. And so students really gain more control over the pacing of their learning. If a mastery learning environment is being used, then students really, they can work ahead if they want to, and students who need to continuously review can also do that because they have access to the videos. You can't replay your teacher, and if you're absent, the content is already available for you, so you don't miss any instruction if you're not in class one day. The flipped model promotes student-centered learning and collaboration. When a flipped model is being used, students have more time in class to collaborate and work together as a team. They are able to bounce ideas off of each other and be more creative. And they also can apply more critical thinking skills and more problem-solving skills because a teacher can use more complex problems to give to students because they have that support of their classmates, they have the support of resources within the classroom, and they have the teacher. And a great teacher is going to understand how the students are thinking and be able to scaffold their questions for the students to be able to develop those critical thinking skills. The lessons and the content in a flipped model are more accessible. In the traditional classroom, if you miss class, you miss the lecture. And now you have to copy notes from somebody, but you weren't there to hear the teacher explaining the content. And so when we use the flipped model, we're using video lessons, and students can make up the lesson before they even come back to class. They'll already have learned the content, or they'll at least have been exposed to the content through the video. And then also they can, like I said before, they can pause it, replay it, fast forward, come back to it in the future if they want to. So really, students who miss class don't miss instruction. They just miss the application of the content. The flipped classroom also provides a window into the learning environment of the students. The parents can watch the videos with their child and see how they're being taught, see what they're learning, and be able to better help their child. It also allows administrators and other community members to really see what's going on in the classrooms, in their school systems. The final reason why you might want to flip your classroom is essentially it makes your class time more efficient. It makes the learning more efficient for students. Videos typically should be between 5 and 10 minutes. So students potentially are spending less time on homework where they may have spent a half an hour to an hour, from what I've heard, working on problems or worksheets or whatever the activity is for homework. students now, if they're watching a 5 to 10 minute video, even if they're pausing and replaying, it will probably only take 10 to 20 minutes for them to watch the video, take notes as they watch the video, summarize it, and write down questions. And so with the videos being accessible all the time, students can actually watch them ahead of time if they know that they're going to have a busy night. So that way it's not, okay, you've been given this assignment, it's due tomorrow. When you have a flipped classroom set up, students have access to all the videos. And so they can kind of work at their own pace, and they know their own schedule, so they can work around their own schedule. Now let's talk about how do we flip our classroom. So the first thing you need to do is create videos. You can use pictures and audio files, which might be great for a music class. You can use articles, but really when you use video, it's more engaging. So even if you want to use pictures or audio files or articles, you may want to add in a video to help maybe explain what they're supposed to be learning. If it's an audio file for, say, a music class and they're trying to learn a piece of music, what is it that you want them to understand? So create a quick little video just talking about what you want them to gain from listening to the audio file. Or if it's an article that you want them to read, provide them with the article, but then create a little video that either highlights some of the main points or asks them questions about what they're going to be reading. Students really like it when their own teacher creates the videos. I have tried to always create my own videos for my classes, and what I've learned from my students is that they'll have other teachers who have assigned videos from someone else, and they really don't appreciate that as much. They really like that connection that they get with their teacher when the teacher is the one creating the video. They like to hear their own teacher's voice. The next thing you need to do is share your videos with students. So find a way to distribute the video to your students. I use YouTube. There are other hosting sites that you can use. You might even be able to download them right onto an LMS or embed them into a website or something along those lines. You just have to figure out what works best for you. Now, when students don't have access to the internet at home, I tend to use a USB drive. So my students can download the videos onto their USB drive and then be able to play them at home on a computer or another device that allows for a USB drive. A lot of televisions have those now. And in the rare case that a student does not have access to using a USB drive, you can always burn a DVD of the videos. I've not had to do that yet, although I do have sets of DVDs that I can give to students. The next thing is the most important, the most critical thing about flipping the classroom. Whenever you flip the classroom, you have got to utilize your class time differently. So we don't want to just flip the classroom and the worksheet that you might have given them for homework or the problems out of the book that you might have given for homework in the past, you don't want to use those in the classroom. Because yes, while there is a little bit of a benefit there because you're there to help them and you can catch those misunderstandings sooner, they're really not as engaged in the learning of the content or the application of the content as when you use an activity that really gets them diving into the content in some real world situation. And so I try to design activities where my students are going to be practicing the content, but set in a real world situation so they can really see the relevance of the content that we're learning. The other thing that Flipped Classroom allows us to do differently is really personalize the learning for the students. Because we are being more efficient with our time, we can spend more time getting to know our students, getting to know their interests, getting to know their personalities. And so we can design learning activities in the classroom for them to feel like it's more personal to them. So it's more interesting for them. And like I said previously, students will learn better when they're collaborating and and when they're actively engaged in the learning. My suggestion to you would be, if you want to flip your classroom, start with a single unit. Don't be overzealous and try to flip an entire class in one semester or year, depending on what your school schedule is. That can be incredibly overwhelming. I'm speaking from experience. I decided to flip 2 classes at the same time, and it was a lot of work. And so to kind of get your feet wet, I would suggest flip a single unit first. Take some time to learn the software that you might be using, different apps that you might be using. Find your comfort zone. What do you want to use? What is easy for you to use? Because you want to give yourself an easy start. And if you're just flipping a single unit, you have time where you can play with different ways of recording your videos, and you can get feedback from your students. If you flip an entire class, well, now you have all these videos, you've spent all this time, and you might be less inclined to fix them or adjust them or try something different. So I would suggest start small. And if you don't even want to do a single unit, just try a few lessons. Get student feedback to see what they like. Because really it's all about the student's engagement, the student learning. And so when they are interested in what you're doing, they're going to be more engaged. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this lesson on the flipped classroom. I really enjoy flipping my classroom. I've seen so many benefits that I think that a lot of teachers could, and their students could really benefit from using this model.